PixMix is brought to you by the Aaron Meta Show, brought to you by Liberated Syndication, twitch.tv/Aaron Meta Show, and is in association with the Old School Lane podcast.
PixMix is brought to you by oldschoollane.blogspot.com and is associated with the Aaron Meta Show.
Welcome to PixMix. My name is Aaron.
And my name is Patricia.
And no, this is not an early April Fool's Day joke. This is actually a PixMix instead of a Dream Machine. So
Yeah, very true. So, we have just recently traveled forward into the future, and we had just seen all of the previous Pixar movies that will be coming out in the future, and we're just about to tell it to you right now.
Okay then. Well, actually, we're only going to tell you about one, but and also it's we're going to admit to you it's only just the trailer, and we're only just going to give you our thoughts on it.
Yeah.
So, we just felt like, and also on top of that as well, I know I've said in the past that I think 3 is enough for a series of movies. But I think, given that there's so much buzz currently going on, ironically enough, a lot of buzz currently going around for this movie, and I'm sure there's a lot of people asking for our opinions on it too. I think we would be not wise to kind of let this pass by, and I think we should at least give people our thoughts now that there's actually a proper trailer of whether we feel like Toy Story 4 is going to be a worthwhile episode of PixMix that we're going to do when the movie finally comes out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, here we go.
Goes and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feathered canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way.
So, the trailer of Toy Story 4 had come out on March the 19th of 2019 on the road of life where there are old friends, new friends, and stories that change you. So watch the new trailer for Toy Story 4 out now and is in theaters on June 21st. So, Patricia, your thoughts on what we saw in those 2 minutes and 27 seconds?
I was genuinely surprised for this trailer. Now, before we ended PixMix with The Incredibles 2, we did briefly talk about how, basically Toy Story 4 was essentially like starting over from a previous draft of the story in which they were going to basically have it as a standalone story and not a continuation of Toy Story 3. But in here, it seems like it is a continuation of Toy Story 3 because in the trailer, we did see some snippets of, Woody making a promise about that he was going to watch over Bonnie because it was kind of like something that he gave a solemn swear to with the trade of Andy, and then we have all of the gang trying to go after Woody, and very similar to what happened in the previous Toy Story movies. And this time around, we have a brand new character in the form of Forky, which is a very unorthodox sort of toy. It's a spork that has googly eyes and curly arms and popsicle feet, and it doesn't want to be a toy. It claims that it wants to be a spork, where it gets eaten, with alongside with super such, and then it wants to be thrown away, and then eventually, Woody has to save it because as of the trailer, as we've seen it, it is currently Bonnie's favorite toy. Not all the other toys that she received from Andy. That is.
Mm-hmm. And I thought, we obviously were going to, when this Forky was not introduced just in this trailer. He was put in this. He was put in the featurettes. He was also putting one in the Super Bowl commercial as well.
That's right. Yeah, we first saw him in the Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, we didn't know what his name was, but we kind of knew that he was going to be a focal point in the story. And I'm very surprised they just threw him in as a side character and didn't really acknowledge that. So, hey, how is it that it's easy to kind of like, you can see in other films, he probably would be thrown in as just a kind of like a comical side character, with and everyone else kind of like being so serious. But no, he's going to be there, and he's going to be one of the driving forces, I think, in the dare I say, probably the main story of Toy Story 4.
Yeah, no, it's kind of interesting about how Disney has kind of been playing this trope recently about how, in appearance, it looks like that they're going to be like the goofy side character that's going to be a lot of fun, but on the inside, they actually have a lot more depth to them than you would think. Like the imaginary friend from Inside Out or Olaf from Frozen, in which they would appear to be like goofy characters, but they do have a bit of heart to them.
Well, I mean, with Olaf, I think in Frozen, when you saw the concept, you thought, oh my god, this is going to be a really loud, obnoxious character. But he was very toned down.
Very toned down. That surprised me because, as I mentioned this before, that seriously, the Frozen trailer, like the original Frozen trailer, was like one of the worst trailers I've ever seen in my life. It was awful. It was bad. And the reason why it was bad was because it didn't. I mean, if you were to watch the final product, it's nothing like it. Like, it gives you nothing. And then when you see Olaf and he's like acting all goofy, he's like, oh, here we go. This is going to be like the annoying side character. Ugh. But no, it was kind of surprising. And similar to the imaginary friend from Inside Out, in which, it's pink and it's like all smiley and such. It's like, oh, this is another annoying character. Okay, let's move on to the next world. But no, when it sacrificed itself to save joy and sadness, that was touching. So I have to give, kudos for that. So I think that Forky is going to be a similar character.
Yeah, well, let's let that play
out. Well, not
a
similar character, but kind of like what the basis of that kind of character is.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the character who is reluctant to kind of accept his fate. I think, and so I don't think he is. I think he's definitely not going to be happy with the fact that Bonnie has brought him to life, and he would rather just kind of like go away and serve his original purpose.
Right.
Maybe he's going to.
Like how I
tell you what. Funnily enough, now I think the Forky arc is kind of an interesting story because it's kind of like it does actually make me kind of wonder what direction he's going to go in. Is he actually going to want to actually fulfill throwing himself away and justify why he does want to be his original self, or is he going to warm up to the fact that now he's got this purpose of being Bonnie's toy? And
yeah, that's a very interesting question. I mean, there was like towards the end of the trailer when Forky does say, look, there's Bonnie. She's about to leave. And then, Woody starts running over towards the car. So I take it that maybe at some point in the movie, Forky's going to accept his role.
Mm-hmm. Or either that, he's going to make a choice, whether he's going to say, look, I'm going to stay here in the carnival and you're going to, Buddy, you go over and make sure Bonnie's okay or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's get to the carnival, by the way, because, we've tried, mixing up various settings for the toys. In the first movie, we had Andy's room, and then we had Pizza Planet. In the second movie, we had a toy collector with Al, and we had Al's Toy Barn, which was a toy store. In the third movie, we had the kindergarten, and now we have a carnival, which again is a great idea because carnival is where you get to see a lot of toys. You win them with like carnival games.
Yeah, well, I just think, I don't know, like, I really would like to see what the formula is going to be like in this, and like, is it going to be? Because one thing I would say is that with the Toy Story films, and this is. I'm sorry, this is like a really weak critique, I think, of Toy Story, but you can kind of start like seeing the formula of like, they start off in the house, and then it's like either there's a moving or a road trip or some kind of event that makes them go into like all of the locations, and I guess you could say that's a critique for any other film in existence.
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly. But, it is true. You're absolutely right, because in the first movie, Andy, his mom, and his sister were moving. In the second movie, Andy was going to camp, and then it would have focused on whether Woody was going to go to Japan with the other toys. In the third movie, Andy was going to college, and they had to bring Woody back right before he left. So yeah, we essentially have like trips. Like some character is going to be going off to insert place here for some reason, and the toys have to go there right before they leave or right before, they find out that they're missing. Which there is a part of the movie in which we do see that Bonnie is looking for her toy, and she realizes that it's missing, and she starts crying and going over to her parents.
Yeah, I just think with the whole. I just feel like it's been done, the way that the Toy Story formula has been done. I like to see if they do something unique with it, or if they do something that makes it stand out from the other movies. Because I think the problem with this movie is, and I think it's also a fate that other kind of post 3 movies kind of fall into. Like, you kind of know what the formula's going to be. Like, what? I guess towards the end, I think you can kind of see where, and also top of that, like, everyone had probably read the books before they went to see the films. With the Harry Potter series, for example, like you kind of knew what you were in for. I think after seeing probably the first 3, and then when you went off to see the other ones, you kind of knew where you were going with them. And then with with other movies that have like passed that, like you kind of know you're familiar with the formula. And the Fast and Furious movies, for example, like you know what it's going to be when you first walk into the theater, and you know what to expect. And I don't know if is Pixar going to surprise us with something that, I mean, obviously they're surprising us with something now in regards to toys kind of questioning their existence in the world, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going in those directions, and also they're going to be, mind you, they say that they're going to be playing at stories that are kind of close to heart as well, which I mean, is kind of par for the course of Pixar at this point, because they always tell emotional stories. Like they making...
I mean, I guess it depends on who's telling the story. Like, each of the main writers of Pixar always tell the stories in a completely different way, whether it be a story by Pete Docter, whether it be a story by Andrew Stanton, whether it be a story by Lee Unrich. It depends on, how their story perception is. Some tell it more emotional than others. Some tell it more heartwarming than others. Some tell it more with a comedic stride. I guess it depends on, how, what you define as emotion for a Pixar movie.
Yeah, and I just think with with emotional Pixar films, like, I mean, we the moment when sadness finally takes control of Riley in Inside Out. I mean, the moment when Coco receives the song that revives all the memories. Mm-hmm. And so those moments, and also the moment when Dory finally found her parents, and in Finding Dory. And so I think I'd be interested to see what the big payoff, I think, for sitting through Toy Story 4 is going to be. I think in all of this, and I think we're going to get it, because obviously Bonnie is back in the picture in all of this. So,
yes.
Yeah, I mean, I am intrigued to. I will be honest, I am intrigued to see. And what we've seen here, it seems that now that Bo in this is going to be obviously a lost toy who's now got more of a rugged edge than she had with it before.
Yeah. Let's talk about Bo Peep. Yeah, this was. I mean, we've known for a long time that Bo Peep was going to be in the movie. But it seems like there was a bit of a change, because I don't recall, in like the early drafts of the story, that Bo Peep was going to go through like this massive change. I think that was probably something that they had, rewritten during like the when they decided that they wanted to take the series into a different direction.
Well, to be honest, I think there was a lot that was rewritten. Keep this in mind. This is a movie that's had 3/4 of its script ripped out and redone again.
Exactly.
So if we're going to talk about rewrites of Bo, I think we can talk about rewrites about a lot of other things, I think, in this. And so I think even probably Forky himself is probably also a rewrite, maybe.
But we will not know fully of the original story until maybe when the movie comes out.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely know about that. So, I mean, obviously the main focus looks to be Woody, looks to be Forky, looks to be Bo from the list. But surprisingly enough, I mean, it looks like Buzz Lightyear. I mean, I guess Buzz Lightyear is somewhat revising his story arc from Toy Story 2, and that's going off to find Woody.
Yes, he is. And, of course, as usual, he's going to be taking along, all the other toys. And maybe, I think maybe from what it looked like in the trailer, it looked like he was going on his own. So maybe, he's going to be the one to go into the carnival and look around to find Woody, while Woody is learning more about, what it's like to be a rugged toy with no owner, and whether Woody should actually follow his path of actually being a toy owner. Yeah, this is I'm definitely feeling a lot of Toy Story 2 vibes in this.
Yeah, it's like, but it's a bit, I don't know, like Buzz Lightyear being forced to kind of go. Well, he's volunteered to go off on his own, but it looks like all the other toys are going to be sticking around in the trailer from the looks of it. So
yeah, I
funny enough, so to speak.
knowing the Toy Story franchise, they're probably going to feel guilty, and then eventually they're going to go try to look for Buzz so that they can find Woody. Don't be surprised if that happens.
Yeah. So I mean, we can talk about the design of it all, and we talk about, I guess, well, the music's, I think, I definitely think is just for the trailer. I think we won't see like the full score, I don't think, until like way later on in the into the movie itself. But
Sure.
I think, and also maybe they might do some more additional work, I think, for the other trailers that might come out to do. They might do some more TV spots as well. Maybe, I think they're definitely going to want to promote this film to the moon, I think. And actually, that's interesting. How do you think the promotion's going to play out? Do you think we're going to see? Do you think we're going to see more trailers come out before June 21st, or do you think they're going to look at?
Yeah, there'll definitely be a lot more trailers. I think there'll be more trailers introducing maybe the carnival toys, because we only know a few of them.
Yeah. How many do you think, though?
I'm gonna guess 3 or 4.
I'm gonna guess 3 as well. So I'm gonna
Okay.
say this is the first one. They're gonna release the second one, and then before the movie comes out, they're gonna go with they're gonna give us a third one and give us something that's really gonna. I feel like they've given us something to intrigue us now, and then in the second one, I think they're gonna probably tell us maybe something a bit more about maybe either Forky or Bo, and then in the third one, they're gonna give us something that we're really gonna want to be interested in, and then bam, we're gonna be in the theater watching it.
Yeah, exactly. And one character that I don't think we've seen in the trailer, maybe for like a few seconds, but Keanu Reeves is supposed to be in this movie as kind of like an Evel Knievel-like character, who rides a motorcycle or something.
Uh-huh.
So I don't think he was in the trailer, but there was an announcement like way, way past last year that he was going to be in this movie as a character.
Well, we still got plenty of time to go yet, so I mean, still a chance for them to showcase him at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So either that, or if he's just going to be there. I mean, not much chance to go showcase him if he's only going to be in it for like a certain amount of time. So
sure, that's fair enough.
If you're going to be there, have a cup of coffee and then go away again. So like,
that's a fair point.
Yeah, that's a fair point too. So so they're in this. So, I mean, what kind of shenanigans do you think they'll get up to in this carnival? I think.
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they'll play a similar scene to the original Toy Story, in which, like, maybe somebody is playing a carnival game and then they see Woody or Bo and they'll be like, "Oh, I want that!" And then they'll play the game and then they win, and maybe they have to go after, the toy. Like, it gets a little sidetracked.
Yeah, or maybe they'll probably find a ring toss game, which is oh, that's interesting. Do you think they'll probably do a homage to the carnival episode of The Simpsons, and they'll show how the ring toss game is rigged, and they'll unrig it, and then they'll show that, and they'll have everyone win the prizes on show, that'll be kind of funny. So they do that a little bit, and I'm assuming there's going to be animals in this because they might have like a petting zoo or something like that. I don't know, or it's
maybe,
maybe, and so
but
a lot of
I think
possibilities.
that with the setting, there's a lot of possibilities that you can play around with. But I think that the main focus for the story is the conundrum of Woody and Forky trying to go back before they leave. Bonnie and her family leave, and also the discussion of Bo becoming a rogue toy, and Woody having to make the decision on whether, he should be a rogue toy with Bo, or, he should go back with Bonnie and his family. And I want to bring up something, and I don't know how you feel, Aaron, but I remember when there were so many complaints on Twitter of everybody just hating Andy's new design.
Oh, yeah.
They saying like, "Oh, that doesn't look anything like Andy." But you have to understand that the first Toy Story movie came out in 1995, and this was the very first CGI animated feature.
I gotta be honest, I'm just having a look. I'm just having trying to get a tiny look at. Here's the thing, though. I mean, we're looking at this boy now. I mean, are we? Are we sure that's actually Andy, though?
Yeah, that is Andy because he's wearing, the cowboy hat that looks like Jesse's cowboy hat, and he's playing, that's during the flashback when he was talking about like, with Woody talking to Bo saying like, you can't teach this old toy new tricks, and I made a promise. And it was switching back and forth between the scene where Andy was giving Bonnie his toys, and then we have Andy playing with it. I mean, unless of course maybe it's a different owner and we don't know about it, but we can assume it's definitely it is definitely Andy.
I could see there be like, I don't know, like, because, I mean, if this is supposed to, I mean, people are saying this is different from Andy, then how do we know it's not like a dream sequence and like this is another kid playing with these toys? Or something like that.
That could be a possibility, sure, but I think that this is a more refined look of Andy because, again, I'm just gonna bring it up again that, 1995, this was the first CGI animated feature, and character renditions of humans were not up into stride at that point. So,
yeah, I'll definitely say that because if you look at Andy in the original Toy Story, he looks like he looks like he's in a like those like early video games that have like human characters in them. I'm trying to remember what a good one to kind of reference would be. It's like he does look far less defined.
Yeah, he kind of looks like he looks like a PlayStation rendered character like Heart of Darkness or something.
Yeah, it's like it's so I think, and also on top of that as well, like I don't think Andy was going to escape being updated. I don't think.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, unless of course, they really wanted to, they wanted to use old clips like in Toy Story or Toy Story 2 to, showcase Andy, or, like in Toy Story 3 when they did like the new flashbacks, then, that would have been cool. But I guess they wanted to like put in some new animation towards the flashbacks. And I guess that makes sense. But for some people, it's a little bit too jarring for them, which I completely understand.
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't mind, if this is Andy, to be honest with you, I don't mind him.
Yeah, I don't mind him either.
I think he's all right. Yeah, on top of that as well, at least looking at Andy now and looking at his older version, it kind of that, I would say that kid has more chance of growing up to look like the Andy in Toy Story 3 than I think the kid in Toy Story, the model in Toy Story ever did.
Sure. And that's very fair.
I'm trying to remember what he looked like in Toy Story 2 now. So
yeah. Another thing that I wanted to bring up in terms of the story was I think that for the most part we do kind of get a sense of what the story will be about. But I do think that there is going to be at least maybe one little plot twist that kind of like shakes things up. We're probably going to have a surprise villain because in Toy Stories 2 and 3, we had a surprise villain. We had, the prospector in Toy Story 2, and we had the, Lotso in Toy Story 3. So don't be surprised if maybe somebody that we get to trust in Toy Story 4 is going to turn out to be a villain. Don't be surprised if maybe Bo will be a villain.
Actually, I was going to ask you about that. What if it is Bo?
If it is Bo and the way that she acts, in terms of like forcing Woody to become a rogue toy, that will not surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, I just think how it'll play out though, because if there's supposed to be an emotional scene between Woody and Bo, like I mean, it can't be like. It can't be like how John and Cortana were in Halo. I'm sorry, it can't be that. Like where oh, hang on, no, we just got a poor connection there. Can you still hear me, Patricia?
I'm here.
Okay, then yeah, I'm just gonna turn this thing off because I don't think we really need it. But
sure.
So I mean, in regards to the relationship, it can't be like Cortana and John in Halo because I just think that, I mean, the way that all played out when Cortana betrayed Master Chief in Halo, I just think that it was you didn't really feel too emotional about it, I think. And I think if they did the same with Woody and Bo in that regard, where Woody discovers Bo has been alive all this time and then finds out that she's actually, gone mad and is planning to take over or whatever, or do something crazy. And I don't think you can really draw too much emotion from that, I don't think. I mean, that's just me.
Unless of course they can play it really well, like how in the Prospector, he has like a really sad backstory about how he was in a dime store when the TV series was no longer running and it was becoming unpopular when kids were wanting to buy space toys, and he was watching every single toy being sold and he never got to be played with. So maybe
fair.
we have.
I'll tell you what's not fair.
Yeah, being in a dime-cent store, watching every other toy being sold. And don't wind me down. Cowboy doll is gonna mess it up for me now. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, like,
okay, so I think
I'll tell you what, the Prospector comes back and says, fair? That's not a fair, that's a carnival.
Oh, God, that was shame, Aaron. Anyway, but, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they try to play that angle into Bo Peep's character, because Bo Peep was given away by Andy at some point, and maybe she would have felt that she was betrayed, that now that she sees Woody for the first time. And don't forget that in Toy Stories 1 and 2, they were like, a couple that, she was like very, she was like a very minor character in the previous movies. She was just like there looking pretty, and, she would like flirt with Woody, and, it was cute. It was essentially really cute. But
I tell you what if they went all the way with this? I mean, what if, like, say for example, the little girl at the airport who ended up with the Prospector, what if she turns up at the carnival? With the Prospector, and then, well, no, that wouldn't make any sense.
No, that wouldn't make any sense because she would be an adult.
Oh yeah, okay then. Well, what if somehow the Prospector turns up at the carnival, and then all of a sudden the garbage truck comes up, and then Lotso is the one who's attached to the front of it, and he ends up falling off, and then he's at the carnival, and so then they obviously, you got the other threats from the other movie wanting to get revenge on Woody while all this other chaos is going on. Like that.
So essentially, we're gonna have a Shrek the Third moment in which like all the villains are gonna come together and take them down.
Well, I'm thinking about that. I'm hoping it's not going to be like as of that. I'm just thinking that maybe they somehow end up there and then they discover that Woody is there too, and that's their chance to get revenge. And like they kind of like operate on their own means, if you will.
Interesting. I that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, it would probably add more danger to the, it would actually add more world building to the carnival, if you will. And yeah, so interesting enough though. Like looking at it, like this carnival is obviously taking place in some small town, for the looks of it. So because there's an antique store and everything like that. So,
sure.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see if the town also takes some sort of precedence in all of this as well. And
yeah, that does sound actually really interesting. I don't know if they'll go in that direction, but I'm really curious if they do. That we'll probably get the Prospector, we'll get Lotso and Bo if she's the villain, and then they work together to have revenge against Woody. Like I would like that. That would be really interesting.
Mm-hmm. And it would, I just think it would just play to the danger factor. I mean, for all we know, maybe the carnival itself will probably become. I've just discovered an Easter egg in this.
What's that?
I don't know if you saw it. When, mind you, one thing I would like to say before that is that when Bo introduces, he takes her into like some kind of like bar of like lost toys. Or something like that, and so obviously we're going to see a lot more lost toy backstories and all of this. Also the Easter egg as well. One of the lost toys I've just seen in the trailer is Tin Toy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a great little callback because Tin Toy was the precursor to Toy Story.
Indeed, and so he's obviously going to be finally make his appearance in Toy Story. So
about time.
Yeah. I'd love to see the knickknacks as well. Like,
that'd be good too. Yeah, I'd love to see the knickknacks.
Maybe that'd be fun to see in this. So
yeah.
So so we've gone through pretty much some of the highlighting clips. I mean, obviously Buzz Lightyear is. Mind you, what do you think of the whole thing in the antique store? Like you have like all those
Yeah, exactly. That actually was like really creepy. It looks just like the dummy from Goosebumps. Those 4 male dummies with the suits. They look just like the dummy from Goosebumps.
Yeah, but what didn't he have a name?
He did have a name. I'm blanking on it. I'm gonna look it up really quickly. But yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like something that like the talking creepy doll. I mean, it looks like something that you see out of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I was looking at it thinking, oh hey, it's I almost mistakenly called him Chucky, and I know it. Before everyone gets on me, I know it's not Chucky.
No,
Okay.
it's not Chucky. And let me see if I can find his name. It's let's okay I okay yeah, he's from Night of the Living Dummy, and his name is Slappy. That's what his name is.
Slappy. Okay then. So some maniac made multiple Slappies, and that's I guess that will be a sequel to that movie. I guess if
Oh God.
yeah, the Slappies will take over, and Ripley has to go around with a flamethrower and burn them all or something like that. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, it'll make money. I'll buy that for $1. So yeah, I just think he obviously had this creepy old antique store, which kind of reminds me of like the Sid in Andy's room deal, like when they find like all the toys and like they all think they're all monsters and stuff, and also the Sid himself.
You mean
Sid's
room? Yeah.
Yeah, it's his room in Toy Story. So it kind of has that. I guess that's going to be kind of like our the Toy Story 4's version of of Sid's room, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so, because I mean, I guess in some point we need to have like a creepy
Oh,
scene
that's a good
involving
question.
with like.
What if all the antique toys are like probably the bad guys in this too, and they're running around the carnival trying to chase them all?
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. It's like, forcing Woody to stay amongst with the the toys that have been like rejected and now are rotting away in some flea market. I mean, thrift store. Yeah, like it's funny because I used to work in Goodwill, and we used to get donations of like lots of toys and video games and action figures all the time. And most of them do not get sold, while others do, and only for like collection purposes. So I'm actually curious about like the perspective of toys that have been like rejected and are like put in a store. It kind of almost reminds me a little bit of like how in Brave Little Toaster, like the like the objects are put into like this like parts store, and that they're only used for the parts and nothing else. They kind of like break them down, and it's actually pretty disturbing once you look at it. And another scene that it kind of reminds me a little bit of is Polar Express, in which like the boy is wandering into like the little section of like the broken, forgotten toys, and the hobo is like playing off like he's a doubter and he doesn't believe in Santa. So it kind of like reminded me of those little moments there.
So, we've managed to take a 2-minute and 27-minute second trailer, and it's pretty good. It's like 31 minutes of talk time.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about, and of course, the final nail in the coffin. Well, not the final, the elephant in the room. There we go. The elephant in the room that we do need to bring up is that John Lasseter is no longer working at Pixar. He has since left because of his, well, we don't want to talk about it, but we're
We know
referring
why he's gone. But
exactly. So we have Pete Docter. He is now the president of Pixar, and as mentioned in the Incredibles 2 Pixmix episode, this will be the first time that John Lasseter will not be involved in any Pixar movie. He will not be an executive producer. He will not be associated with any means at all. So it's going to be starting off with like a fresh start for Pixar. Whether it be like the new golden age, or whether it be like the second dark age.
So for me, Aaron.
And Patricia.
Take care and bye for now.
See you later.